Is Julius Randle the franchise guy for the New York Knicks going forward? Let's get into this. After starting off very slow in his first season with the New York Knicks, Julius Randle completely broke out in his second season and became a legitimate all-star. And the opinion around the NBA and from Knicks fans was starting to shift from Julius Randle completely being a bust and not the right guy for them, to Julius Randle being the savior of this franchise. You literally could not have asked for a better season from Julius Randle. He played every single game for the most part, he was healthy through every single game, and he just elevated his teammates and just played a great brand of basketball throughout the entire season, and got the Knicks all the way up to the 4th seed, which no one was expecting going into the season. However you want to look at it, Julius Randle deserves major props because literally nobody wanted to go to the Knicks for decades now because they're so dysfunctional, and Julius Randle was one of the only guys. He's not a superstar obviously, but he's one of the only guys that actually wanted to go to the Knicks and turn it around for them, and he actually accomplished that. You could say it's only one good season and they didn't even do anything when they got to the playoffs, but I don't think it's just a one-year wonder with these guys. I think they're going to be good for years to come just because they played this well with a very young core of guys that they have going. In previous years when they had one good season here and there, it was mostly due to the fact that they brung in guys who were pretty old but were stars in the league, and then after one season they all break down and either leave the team or they get injured and they're just too old. But this time around they have all young guys that they drafted for the most part, and that's the reason why they're playing so well in a great brand of basketball. And they also have a great organizational people that they hired now. It's just completely different in this Knicks organization than it was before. And I made a video about this recently, check it out if you haven't seen it, but I think based on how they performed this season and how they were doing with the young guys, great coach, great organization now, I think they're going to get a superstar that would want to come to the Knicks, at the very least a star in free agency, and they're finally going to get that guy to help them out. And this is exactly what every Knicks fan has been chanting for and asking for the past literally like 30 years, and finally they're starting to do the right things. They're drafting properly, they're developing young talent, they're hiring the right people in every position, they're hiring the right head coach, and not just hiring a stupid head coach that isn't good whatsoever for 2 years or a year and then firing him and then hiring someone who's even worse. They're actually going on the right path. The Knicks are obviously on the right direction, but now let's answer the question of the video. Is Julius Randle that guy for the Knicks, and that guy that could really take them over the top and be their franchise cornerstone piece for years going forward? Before we answer that question, let's look at Julius Randle's game point by point and see what he does well and what he doesn't do well. So throughout Julius Randle's entire career, he was always a guy who can get to the basket and was a pretty good finisher when he got around the basket. He's not super athletic, but he has had times where he had posterizing dunks, but mostly what he does around the rim is he just puts up layups around guys, and he's a lot of different interesting angles that he's able to put it up over taller defenders, which is really good. So when he gets to the basket, he's pretty efficient with it. But now let's talk about Julius Randle's mid-range game. This is probably the best aspect of his game, but his mid-range pull-up shot is just amazing. He's automatic with it. He just hits every shot. He also has some catch-and-shoot mid-range jump shots, which he hits basically every time as well. But another move that he does very effectively is on the baseline. He actually does a little bit of a dribble pull-up, and he gets the defender completely off balance, and he gets a pretty nice open look, and he hits that basically every time as well. It's kind of a high degree of difficulty, that shot, but he's just so effective with it, and you gain a lot of space with it, so you're open when you're shooting it, which makes it a little better and a little easier. But either way, the angles that he's shooting at and just the position his body's at when he's shooting those shots are pretty high difficulty. He also has a post turnaround fadeaway, which I mentioned for a lot of stars in this league is basically a necessity when you want to be an amazing scorer in this league. That move is basically unstoppable. You get so much room against your defender, and it's just a great shot overall. If you want to be a very prolific scorer in this league, you basically need that shot. Julius obviously does most of his damage from the mid-range, but something that he added this season is that three-point jump shot, which also helps him out tremendously. After not being able to shoot the three-point shot efficiently, anywhere near efficiently, Julius Randle really went to work during his previous offseason and just put in a ton of work in his jump shot in general, but especially extending his range all the way out to that three-point range. And we've seen the results this season. He's able to catch and shoot and hit a very high percentage of jump shots on that, but also something he was able to do is he was able to create for himself on the arc and do a little bit of a step back or whatever to get himself a little bit of room, and he's hitting that very consistently as well. Julius Randle was actually hitting 40% from three-point range this previous season, which is absolutely incredible considering that he wasn't able to shoot the three-point ball really whatsoever in his past seasons. and if he was shooting it, he was shooting at a very low percentage, in the 20s percentage. And I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but when you extend your range all the way out to the 3-point line, and defenders really have to respect you from that line, and you're very prolific from it, especially how Julius Randle was shooting this previous season, over 40%, now that really opens up a lot of other parts of your game, because now when they have to focus on you on the 3-point line, now it's easier to blow by them and get all the way to the basket and get easier layups and dunks over whoever is in the paint. Or now it's also easier to get by them and do that signature pull-up shot that he has, that dribble pull-up from the mid-range that Julius Randle does so effectively, and all the other shots and all the other parts of his game just now become easier because now the defender really has to worry about your 3-point jump shot as well. So I think putting in that work in the offseason just to improve his 3-point shot helped him out so tremendously, and it was not only just due to him being able to shoot from the 3, it helps every other aspect of his game as well. But now the biggest part of Julius Randle's game that really improved and what made him the all-star he is, and even a little bit better than an all-star at this point, is his playmaking and passing ability. Prior in the past, Julius Randle had a very big issue where he would just spin into a double team and he would just lose the ball and not really provide for his teammates and get them open shots and really get them wanting to play with him. But this season he completely changed that. He was finding teammates at will, he was driving all the way to the basket, drawing those double teams, but now instead of turning the ball over and just throwing up a bad shot, he was actually kicking out to his teammates for wide open threes, especially guys like RJ Barrett and Reggie Bullock were thriving off the catch and shoot threes they were getting and just the open looks they were getting from all the double teams Julius Randle was attracting. And Julius Randle really proved that he was not only an all-star in this league, he was a high-level all-star at the way he was playing during the regular season. But the issue for Julius, and what really made a lot of people have second thoughts about him, was his performance in the playoffs. In the playoffs, it was obvious that the moment was too big for Julius Randle. He completely dwindled, he wasn't shooting as well, he wasn't shooting well whatsoever, he wasn't getting his teammates involved, he just completely dwindled, and the lights were obviously too bright for him. Obviously, he was playing the Atlanta Hawks, who actually made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, so they were a much better team than a lot of people thought, and they had a great game plan against him, sending those double teams, but they were sending it a different way than he's seen all season, so that was a good job by them. But I think overall it was more so Julius Randle was just bad more than the Atlanta Hawks playing great defense on him. But now, given the pros and cons of Julius Randle and what he was able to do this season and what he was able to do in the playoffs, or lack thereof, what are my thoughts personally? Do I think Julius Randle is a cornerstone piece that the Knicks finally found and should build around going forward, or do I think Julius Randle was more of a one-year wonder and they should move on from him going forward? I think it's more of an incomplete answer more than anything else. Julius Randle is still under contract for at least one more season, and then they have to find out if they want to really extend him and give him max contract or whatever they were going to plan on offering him. So I think what the Knicks should do, play this season out with Julius Randle. Hopefully they make the playoffs again, see if he continues to play poorly in the playoffs, or it was just his first playoffs and he was just nervous, and then going forward now he has that experience and he's going to be fine going forward. If he's going to be fine going forward into the playoffs, I think you definitely run with him, of course. But if he doesn't again, and that's back-to-back playoffs where he doesn't perform and just the lights are too bright for him, I think at that point you should move on. But I think he's under contract for another year anyway. You might as well at least try him out and see what happens with him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Julius Randle's a cornerstone piece for the Knicks, or do you think he was a one-year wonder and they should move on from him? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out, guys.